Have you ever thought what could be the reason of most of problems in our life? Why we don't feel happy most of time and remain in stress, remain in anxiety? The root cause of most of problems in our life is we create our problem. The root cause of all problems in our life is we care a lot more about things that don't even exist, or the things we shouldn't even care about, the things we can belittle, the things we don't even think about, even those things exist or they don't exist. But we think a lot more about those things, and therefore we always remain in stress. We forget we are too happy. We forget we are to focus on other things. We care a lot more about people most of time, less about things sometime. But the problem is, we think that someone would be thinking about us, and someone definitely would be thinking negative about us. We give fake perception to that person, and we believe that would be the exact perception that person carry, and we start perceiving ourselves or defining ourselves based on that perception. We believe we are guilty. We believe we are not good enough. We believe this opportunity is not for us. We believe that person would have selected someone else. And we believe we are not able to resolve our problem. Or sometimes we believe I can't do this anymore, or this thing is not for me. Just cause of a little bit delay, just cause of communication gap, just cause of we simply don't consider to clear out everything. We start believing in that perception that we have given to that person. That person even didn't try to take that perception from us. People don't think anything about us sometimes, or people don't think the way you think people would be thinking about us. Or sometimes people think something different, but they show they think something different. And this way, human behavior work, our thinking pattern works. But the problem is we always are inclined to define ourselves based on that perception that people don't even carry. And again, we define the way I've explained earlier. And here is a beautiful quote that normally I've heard from Jay Shetty, and it perfectly sits in this scenario to prove this. The quote is, I'm not what I think I am. I'm not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. And here is the problem. We perceive ourselves what we are not, whereas we should perceive ourselves what we are. But how do we perceive ourselves what we are, and what exactly we are? In terms of perceiving ourselves what we are, until we sit with ourselves, until we talk to ourselves, we reflect on our choices, our triggers, our decisions, we can't figure out what we really are. It is the only way. And how should we perceive what we exactly are? The simple answer is we are the basic version of something that we can be in the future. We are someone from whom we escape every single time. And we do not escape. We simply try to push away that person. We are something we don't accept. And actually, we are that person. We are that personality. And the moment we start acknowledging that person, we start revering that person, we don't live in that illusion of something that we really are not, then most of the problems usually get resolved. Neither we are guilty, nor we are not good enough, nor we are unworthy, nor we feel like that thing is not for us. We feel like we can try. That's how we develop new perception. That perception actually should exist, actually should carry. Then we start perceiving ourselves the way we actually are. And that is the only solution of all other problems. And if we try to find answers of all questions that we have created based on that perception that we have bestowed to those people, we put ourselves in an endless cycle of chaos, confusion, and resolving and finding questions and finding answers. And the whole time, first, we always remain in stress and anxiety. Second, we don't live life properly. And we forget then we had to remain happy as well. Therefore, life seems problematic. And every single time we do this unintentionally. The same thing happened with me too. When I last time left my job, I got another job, and I didn't have the time to give 1 month notice to my previous company. Actually, I was not bound to give 1 month notice to them, but somehow I realized I was betraying that person, and I had to join in 2 days. But I told everything to them. I felt thankful to them for all opportunities and learning, and they simply allowed me through thumbs up in that text. Somehow again, something it was in my mind that I was guilty. I betrayed that person who showed up with me when I really needed a job, when I was struggling. He didn't ask about my gap, he didn't ask about my inconsistency in my career. He simply chose me just because of that connection I nurtured with that person. And now, the moment I'd go to the park in which that person comes up every single day, I had a cold feet that how would I interact with that person? What that person would be thinking about me? I automatically announced myself I was guilty. And now I didn't want to talk to that person. I did try to escape from that person. I try not to face that person. But one day while I was walking, that person crossed me and asked about my well-being with a smile, as if he didn't care about anything, as if nothing had happened. I simply replied, I'm good, and I asked about his well-being too. And in this way, I realized what I was thinking, it was completely wrong. I was thinking that person would be feeling betrayal. That person would be thinking, I can't stay in that job, or I simply ditched him. I just wanted to have my salary, I got my salary, and I left that company. But then I figured out what I was thinking, it was just only in my mind. It was not in his mind. Or even there was something in his mind. I didn't have any idea. I didn't reach to that conclusion what that person was actually thinking. But I realized I was wrong. Without any rhymes and reasons, I was creating problem for myself. I was feeling guilty. I tried to belittle that person. And one time I crossed that person from behind. I didn't even talk to that person. Just because of my wrong perception that I already given to him. That was my problem. And then I realized people don't think the way we think people would be thinking about us. Or people don't even think what we think. Or sometimes people think but they don't show what they think. We really don't need to care how people think about us if we are true to ourselves, if we are right, or if we don't hurt anyone. And this thing really makes sense. There are multiple things we care about, and this is one of the most primary thing. The moment we learn which thing we should care about, which thing we shouldn't care about, then life seems easy, seems less problematic. Most of the problems don't even come up, and we always resolve meaningful problems. And to realize that thing, I made a list of all these things which I should care about, which I shouldn't care about. And you can make those lists. We all should make those lists. We can't change people's perception. We don't need to care about people's perception. We don't need to define ourselves what someone would think, because someone literally doesn't think about us. Or sometimes someone thinks differently but shows up differently. Sometimes people even don't have any perception. And in this way, we can put ourselves in any single scenario. So define these 3 situations or figure out which thing you really need to care about. And don't perceive ourselves based on their perception. It is the 3rd point. And then we can live in our present. We can live in content. We can find reasons of feel happy, or we can nurture our own happiness and peace the moment we need. That's what I learned, and it took a lot more time to learn this thing. What we care, people don't care, and what people care, we don't even know. What we know, people don't even care about that thing, and what people care about that thing, we can't even think about that thing. And that is the truth. That is the undercurrent of the whole conversation. Choose what you care about, and choose meaningful things, what you care about. And find your things, and care about those things. Save yourself from endless problems. Save your energy to put for meaningful problems, rather than put in futile things. And protect yourself. Spend rest of your energy for your loved ones, for your meaningful things, and achieve all your goals. And live the most of your life. It's one life, it's a beautiful life. With this beautiful thought, that's all I had to say about this. Bring the smiles on everyone's face. Make the world a better place to live. Signing off, Vivek Kumar, your buddy. Bye bye.